20 national relay teams, one world championship competition. Nice, France, the setting. Are the Irish ready? Hello and welcome to On the Rocks podcast with me, Coach Marshy. Hope everyone is well. So what we will say today is at the point of recording this episode, the Hyrox World Championships in Nice is just a week away. And on that, let's bring in today's guests. Hello, Dena and Tom Hogan. How are you both?
Hey.
Hello.
I'm very good.
Good, thank you. Yep.
Good. So before we ask you anything else, let's go straight to that question. Are the Irish ready?
It's a bit late now if we're not.
I've got 1 week link, but you know, what can we do? 3 of us are in fighting form. One of us is being patched together daily.
Yeah, I think we're in the same position as probably just about anybody who's doing an age group race on Saturday or a doubles race on Sunday or even the elite race on Friday. Everybody's kind of ready for the season to be over, I think. It's been a long slog and my own body is barely hanging on in there. I'm just trying to get one more week. One more week, I keep telling myself, and then I can do nothing for a couple of weeks.
Yeah. And, you know, you talk about sort of the long season and, you know, wanting it to be, you know, we all want that break. And in terms of the process of what Hyrox decided to do in terms of this World Championship relay, what was that process and how did it come about? You know, when did you guys kind of first get approached? We saw it on Instagram, but I'm sure you knew a little bit before that. What was that process for you, Dena, to become the captain of the Irish team?
Oh, Tom loves this story, don't you?
So I've known about this for well over a year.
A couple of years ago in a bar somewhere in Europe after a Hyrox race, we were standing around with Christian and a few of the others, and Tom and Christian had this talk. Christian had this idea about this relay, and yeah, you had a kind of conversation how cool it would be to put some dream teams together and stuff. And
the plan was always kind of that you get like super athletes from other sports and you'd have this crazy teams basically where we were looking at like a 44 or 45 minute Hyrox because you had specialists in different areas.
So I think it led from like how fast can a Hyrox be done, etc., etc. And I think 10 tequilas deep, Tom was promised the captaincy
Christian
role.
1,000,000% said to me, "You will be captain of Ireland whenever we do this."
But then fast forward, and I just woke up one morning and I was just having my espresso in the kitchen as we always do before we go out to the gym, checking through some emails, and there in the emails was, "Do you want the role as captain, Dena?"
Pretty sure they did it to wind me up.
So that was the first I've heard of it, and I was really excited. Took the role straight away, and yeah, that's how we learned about it. A few weeks later, we had a Zoom call with Mo, and I think originally there was only 10 countries. I could be wrong on the figure, but it definitely wasn't 20. And then obviously maybe it grew into what it is going to be next Sunday.
To be fair, they made the right decision. They probably know me too well and know that I'm the type of person who's just kind of, sure, we'll see, whatever happens kind of attitude to things. Whereas Dena is more organised, and they probably knew that she would put a lot more effort into the organisational side than I probably would have.
Yeah, I was going to ask that. Is it probably came down to that, did it? The organisation, and they knew that Dena had that in a locker. So
I would think so.
Fair enough. And you know, I mean, that's great to understand that, because obviously all we've seen as like the consumer of the sport is this, you know, constant Instagram feed of, you know, you got announced and Hunter got announced, and it was just announced who, you know, Michael and that's who the captains were, and JK and everyone else. But we didn't really understand how it got to that, because there wasn't even really a whisper of that or anything beforehand. But
No,
I can kind of see what Tom's saying there about this like super elite from different sports and that idea. But I think from my perspective, don't know what you guys think, but for some countries, it's been very easy to select 4 very natural Hyroxers, whereas perhaps maybe yourselves haven't had that complete luxury yet.
No, and to be honest with you, even if we did,
I'm not sure if I was the one picking the team, even if there was probably 4, like if there was more and more names in Ireland, which there will be in the coming years as more and more Irish do it. I'm not convinced that's the way to pick a team, to be honest, because this isn't a Hyrox. This is not going to be like compromise running isn't even a thing in this relay because your 1K runs come first. So like Dena did go down the road of looking at like track athletes and guys who had like 800-meter times that were phenomenal. And like, but unfortunately some of them couldn't do any stations. So you're trying to find that blend of like who can run like a 2:45 km, but also do a station after it. And I don't think you're going to find the Hyrox people being able to kind of hit those times, because if you spend all year or numerous years training for Hyrox, you're going to condition your body to run in a certain way, and it's never going to be to run that fast, to run the crazy times that an 800-meter guy or a 1,500-meter guy can run.
Yeah, it'd be definitely interesting to see the results when they come in, like how that pans out and where the right idea and comes from.
Like I know Austria Alex has gone for a cross-country skier, professional cross-country skier, and a track athlete as 2 people. So
yeah, no, I saw that. I did see that. Whereas, like, you know, you look at our team, the English team, they're all well-known Hyroxers now. Obviously, the Americans are all well-known Hyroxers, but what you're saying is that doesn't necessarily matter at this stage.
No, and I think the community, like if say Hunter or Sandy didn't pick the bigger names in the UK and the US, well then you get an outcry of everyone saying, well, has he got something against this person, or Sandy not like that person? And I get that side of it too, that they're under a little bit of pressure to pick those people. But like JK didn't. Like if you were going to pick another Australian man, John would jump to your mind straight away. But JK decided that he wanted an erg specialist, so he went down that road as well, and it does make sense. Like it's not. I don't think anyone is picking personally here. Like they're actually trying to pick what sort of team will do well, and like Dena said, we'll see how it unfolds. And it's like the early days of Hyrox where people didn't really know how to train for it or how to approach it. And this is no different. The first time of anything, you're going to learn something. So I'm sure we'll all come away from this relay thinking, oh, we should have did this or we should have done that better. So it's a learning curve for everybody.
So from that, I'm taking it that we're hoping this will be an annual event for Hyrox at the World Champs.
Yeah, I personally, this is my own opinion on it, but I see this as Hyrox's play into getting into mainstream television. Like television is where the big money in any sport is. It doesn't matter what the sport actually is. And for it to make it to television, it has to be exciting. And for all of us who are in Hyrox and who are probably listening to this podcast, we would sit down and watch an hour of a Hyrox race, but it isn't exciting for people outside of the sport, especially if you have someone leading from the ski erg all the way to the wall balls. Like that isn't exciting at all. So with the relay, they're shortening the time down to probably somewhere in that 45 to 48 minutes, which is good for TV. And they're also going to make it exciting because
the leads and
the lead will constantly change, especially with it being a mixed relay. You are going to have the leads changing all the time, so it should be more exciting for the viewers.
Yeah, no, it's going to be really exciting. I'll be glad to be there in the flesh to see it. So, Dena, talk to us about that moment. You've got the email, so then you know what you've got to do. The process that you then decided to go through to pick those athletes that you guys have now picked as part of Team Ireland. How did that work?
So I suppose I kind of brought it back to the days where I was racing for Ireland and on these team trips and stuff like that. And there's a lot more that goes into making up a team than necessarily having the fastest. Things like that were important to me was, can these people make it to our gym so that we can all get some training together? Are these people going to listen to me in terms of like what I want them to do in programming and week in, week out? Are they going to be already there? You know, there was lots to think about. So I casted the net really wide first. I put up like a workout that I wanted people to take part in and submit their times. That was just to kind of get a bit of buzz. People were like tagging their friends, hey, you'd be good at this, or you know. And then when them results came back, I took the 8 fastest of them. Then these people had a new workout, which with this one, they had to submit some video evidence and stuff to make sure, you know. And along with that, and the other factors that I talked out about, I picked the 2 that I thought was best for the job.
And sort of what was the response to the people that you did reach out to, and you know, when you casted that net wide to start with, was there lots of positivity around it?
It was amazing, actually. So many people like got in touch, and sport and time and everything else is very perspective as well, isn't it? Like, you know, I mean, when I was just running, I would have considered myself like a good club runner, like nothing amazing, not terrible, you know, on any given day would be around 39 minutes for a 10K. Like, someone else could look at that and think that's amazing. You know, oh God, if I could ever get to that time, I'd be happy. Whereas another runner might look at that and think, sure, Jesus, that's what I do for a warm up. Like, so we had a very wide range of results. And people are in their own little bubble sometimes in terms of what they, you know, but the standard was insane. It was really, really high. It was higher than I thought it was going to be, actually.
Yeah.
Another big factor what I had to take in, it was I had been a little bit injured, so I had already knew the only stations that I was able to do. So that played in a big part, because then I was looking for certain people to do specific stations rather than picking a team and then just divvying up the stations.
Yeah, no, that's interesting about the kind of, you know, what you said about people's maybe perspective of their own ability and what that means to them and what level they are at.
Yeah.
If we just kind of like, just for everyone listening, try and think about it logically from other nations' point of view versus say yours. Someone like Hunter, really, anyone could have called that team overnight. Like, we all called the team. We knew what the team would be. Maybe not the second male, but you know, right? You know, Kent was going to be the guy, I think. You know, but for you guys, you did have to cast that net wide. And are you glad you had a chance to do that rather than it be really obvious?
I think so. I think I think it boils back to as well what Hyrox were looking for us to do too. Like the whole idea along with the other factors is that the relay is to try and reach other sports and reach other people. And if we're constantly dipping into people that are already there, well, how does that really help? It also in terms of like the next generation, like looking for people that are good at sport already, but maybe haven't heard of Hyrox. This is another way to. So I like that I was able to kind of branch out further and see what's out there. And as always, since 2018, one of our biggest goals is to always make Hyrox a bigger thing in Ireland. It's always been to bring this sport here, and hopefully one day see some more Irish people in the elite or whatever it may be. But we are constantly promoting the sport here, so it was another way of doing that.
Some of the best comments on when Dena did put out that initial workout were, how Irish do I have to be? I thought that was, and that wasn't just from one person. We got that from lots and lots of people.
I got some messages saying like, I'm halfway through getting my citizenship, or
yeah, I mean, look at the football, right? You know, even in the world of football, how many people are playing because the granddad or the grandmother was Irish?
Yeah, we had that too, didn't we?
Actually, Faisal even texted and said, "Don't forget, I have an Irish passport."
Yeah, did he write that? He might have written that on your Instagram actually as well, because I think I saw something like that. Okay, so in terms of training, I'm going to set the tone because yesterday I was talking to JP from Planet Ram, and one of our members, Tate, he loves a Ram burpee, and he said to me, you know, Rams are great for finishers, blah blah blah. And we saw this post on your Instagram about the Ram burpee as a finisher, and you guys did a rock paper scissors. Who did the 66? Who did the 22, etc. So tell us a little bit about the training process and you guys working together as a four elements of the sport being involved.
Yeah. So
before that, what's wrong with that guy? Why does he like ram burpees?
I don't know. I don't know. He just loves them. He just loves it. He chooses it. When there's a choice, he goes there all the time. So he always chooses it. Yeah.
He is crazy.
So, by chance, not that it was a requirement, Barry and Alvine are actually Team Hogan clients anyway. But to be fair, there's not many people left in Ireland that aren't, so it was an easy thing. So, yeah, we've been training away. They've been following their plans as normal. And obviously we have changed them to be very specific for the relay. And then we've been having a lot of days where we train together, which helps because it's not that like you're practicing passing a baton or anything in that format, but when you put four highly competitive people together in a workout, like all friendships go out the window, all team camaraderie goes out the window, everybody's ready just to like make the other people suffer, no one wants to be the weak link. So we've managed to get some really good sessions in, haven't we?
Yeah, and it's different because you're going to hell for like 10 minutes 3 or 4 times in a session with kind of almost equal breaks. Whereas if you were training for a Hyrox, the full Hyrox, the training wouldn't be anything like that. It wouldn't be anything as intense as what we've been kind of doing, which is tough on the body, especially when you're getting on in years.
Yeah. No, I can imagine. And yeah, like you said, the short bouts, it's full on the body.
We're just like 0 to 100, and you stay there for 6, 7, 8 minutes before you're allowed to come back down again. So it's very, very intense.
And you mentioned changing their plans, and I'm sure you've changed yours. And I remember seeing you saying, like, we're all in on the relay. You said that somewhere on Instagram or somewhere, I think it was. What was that decision to go all in on this? Was that just because you're competitive people?
Well, our bodies have been through a bit of a ringer this year. We've probably both suffered more this year than we have in probably the previous 5 years combined. Just, I don't know if we've been unlucky or just things are catching up. I mean, we've been putting our body through a lot for close to 25 years. Yeah. The thing I think a lot of people when I have this conversation with people and they say, "Oh, so and so still going strong and like brilliant, more power to them." But it's not really your age. We feel it's like how long you've been subjecting yourself to this stuff. I mean, in our late 20s, early 30s, we were running like 120k weeks and stuff. So I think things are finally catching up. But two,
well, the big thing was we knew
we wouldn't really get through 2 races, would we?
not in one day. If there had have even been, like, we were going to go for the mixed doubles, so if there had been a day even between it, well, then you have some hope. But to race at 10 or 11 in the morning and come back and do it again that evening, like, that just wasn't going to happen.
And
so
even though Barry and Alvine, they're a lot younger and they're still going real strong, they'll be the first to say as well, like, they're not professional athletes. They have very little time to train. They have full-time jobs. They both own their own business. They both have partners. Barry has children. Like, they don't have the luxury of training in the morning for 3 hours, having a nap, getting up and training again for 2 hours. They're not sponsored. Their income is their livelihood is what they use to get to a race. So all these little things add up. And for us then to make the decision that everyone just goes in on the relay, it just made sense,
Yeah, because we need all the help we can get, basically. It's like, that is the reality. It's the reality for probably 17 of the teams, maybe. Like, outside of probably the UK, Germany, and the US, like, everyone else needs these little margins to try and get up there. And anything we can do to kind of get those 1%, we're going to do. Like, everyone
But
else will have a race in their legs, and hopefully us not having a race rolls back the clock like 5 years from me.
yes, yeah, yeah. So on that, Tom, actually, because you're right, those three nations that you're talking about, albeit very strong on paper, they're going to go for it full on
Yeah,
2 days before. You know, they're going
yeah,
to be at it Friday night, big time. So
yeah.
you've both been there, done Hyroxes and got the t-shirt, right? And you know what it's like when you go flat out and you're giving everything you've got.
Mm.
And there's money on the line as well. You know, I'm not saying that's why any of them originally were there, but there is now money on the line as well. So every place is going to count for them. So they're all going to go out. So actually, maybe that is going to be an advantage for you guys that aren't in that position of being pre-fatigued before you go into it.
I
Also,
hope so.
Hopefully.
I really hope so.
I mean, them athletes there, like the ones we're talking about there now, they're truly amazing. So I don't know how much it'll take out of them, but you know, we that's uncontrollable anyway. What they do and how they perform is no business of ours. Like, we're there to do a job. We know, each of us know what we have to do. So hopefully it will all go well.
Yeah, let them all batter each other on Friday night and
Mm.
see what
yeah,
happens after that.
Yeah.
yeah, no, absolutely, absolutely. I'm going to clip this bit as a short. I'll clip that. I hope they can let them all batter each
Yeah.
other. So in Ireland itself, guys, how's it? You know, has it got much press? Has it
Oh,
got out there?
yeah, because of largely because of Dena. This is definitely why Hyrox didn't pick me to do this captain thing. So like Dena mentioned earlier, like a big thing of this for Hyrox was to get it out to new people and to by introducing new people into the relay. Like Barry was a world class canoeist for 10 years. He was ranked top 10 in the world for 6 or 7 of those years. So all the canoeing community in Ireland and probably Europe wide know who Barry is. So since Barry has been on this team and he's posting about it on Instagram, like he said, like there's guys that he used to race against in Norway and stuff messaging him about Hyrox. So it is working. Like it gets it out.
Yeah.
And Dena's been like the largest magazine publication in the country for women. Did an article on Dena about this relay. Then we were on TV Wednesday morning again. Something that Dena set up. So like, and for that, like I said about being in the bubble, like we had to basically explain Hyrox's 6 1 kilometer runs and 6 functional fitness stations. Like you're bringing it back to basics for the people, or 8, sorry. I wish it was 6. You're bringing it back to the real basics for people to get it out there and get more and more people involved with this thing.
Yeah. And then a big thing for us then was to look at getting some sponsorship for the team. And we, from the very beginning,
She says it was her.
we wanted to you know, make it, one, all about Ireland and all about Irish companies, two, people that we get on board with and that will understand Hyrox and you know, our mission. Definitely Ram just came to mind straight away. We do know the lads, full disclosure. We know them originally through wanting the Rams ourselves for training. And we knew they were the guys for the job, and they've been so supportive, like, so with their help and O'Neill's, we've really managed to put this team together, and we're really excited. Actually, we've had great crack,
Yeah.
haven't we?
O'Neill's have made us fully customized singlets for the race, which is so even if we don't win, we're going to be best dressed.
And we have that.
Best in show. We want a
Best-
rosette. If I don't win a medal,
Yeah.
I want a rosette.
Yeah,
Well,
they're,
you
they're
know,
really good. They've got us like training gear. They've got us like race gear. They've you know, it's been great.
yeah, Tom. Well, and you, Dina, you'll have seen our purple all over the place at Hyrox's here in the UK, and it's like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
you know, the uniform's important. It's massively
Yeah.
important. So,
Yeah.
yeah, no, I completely agree with that. So,
Mhm.
you four now going forward, going to Nice. What's the process? Are you traveling over soon, or are you just going to go a couple of days before? How's it going to go?
Yeah, so we are going Thursday morning, aren't we?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we get there Thursday morning, very early actually. Our flight's at 6:30. Alvine gets there a couple of hours later, and then Barry gets out there Friday morning. We'll all meet up. I mean, the guys, as I said, they were Team Hogan anyway, and we actually have around 60 athletes going, which is, and I say it out loud, is insane. So Tom and I will be on duty as well, but obviously everything we do we'll be doing as a little pack, and so they'll be with us on them anyway. We'll do our usual, nothing crazy. We'll do our usual little trot, maybe along the beach or something. Tactics is done, hard work is done. Like, there's nothing more now than to enjoy it. And I have told the lads that at Barry and Alvin, probably them, us, will probably never get to do this again. It's very, very important that I explain to the lads, above everything, they have to really soak up and enjoy this race, because I know my own self, I was lucky enough to make the Elite 15 once, and it won't happen again. And I'm so glad that I just really embraced it. Because as I said, like, who knows what tomorrow brings, and we should appreciate these things in life, really.
Yeah, and I completely agree. We had some late qualifiers from Olympia, and they just weren't sure whether it was too soon to go. And I was like, well, you don't know what next year's going to bring, so you need to go.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We had the same. We had people qualify last weekend.
Yeah, and you should never let anything pass you by. If you have a chance in life and you can actually go and do it, you have the means to do it, you should do it. Like,
So how many athletes?
You never regret the things you do.
No, I agree. Yeah, you won't. You'll never regret it. And you kind of you touched on it there as well. I can hear this importance of like fun being a really important element of it as well, and enjoying it.
Yeah.
And that's really cool, because I think
just not when they're under like 1K. They better not be enjoying it. They better not be looking around into the stands when they're actually on the 1K.
Yeah.
when they're lying on the ground after, then they can look up into the stands.
Yeah. Tom told me and Alvin we have to get our own WhatsApp group, because he's actually muted.
Yeah.
He's muted the team group.
That's the one drawback of being on another team. It's another WhatsApp group.
Another WhatsApp group, yeah.
Every 2 seconds.
Well, we had important details, like the after party outfits and stuff to discuss, and the men didn't appreciate it.
Me and Barry were definitely into. Barry is traveling on the Friday, because that's always the way he kind of did it for his canoe racing. So he's professional enough that he knows what works for him. So we've just let him kind of do his own thing. And if that's what he always does, well, then why change it? That's leave him at it.
Yeah. No, if it's worked throughout his sporting career, then don't change it if it's not broken. Certainly. And you mentioned there about the outfits, Dena. It's important, but I mean, what time are you guys even going to make it to the after party if you're going to be doing the relay? It's going to dig into that drinking time, surely.
48 minutes later.
Well, that's the biggest incentive of all, isn't it?
Yeah.
You got to get to the after party.
Someone needs to dangle a couple of pints of Guinness there over the sides, fishing rods.
Yeah.
Get us to move a bit quicker.
Moving.
Yeah.
I fear the Guinness won't be quite the same in France as it is back home, because we find that here in England, we kind of have one at Stansted on the way over for a stag do to Dublin or something. And then we have the first Guinness when we get over the water, and it's like, oh, that's not the same drink.
No, so, totally different.
Yeah. JP mentioned the after party actually yesterday, funnily enough. So he sort of mentioned. He's
mad for it, is he?
Mad for a few years.
He said he was looking forward to it, and maybe there'll be time for us to all have a beer. So I said, why not? Why not? Do
so the when we're talking about them there, like the boys actually made the 66-pound ram to replicate the 30 kg sandbag, which was amazing, and it's a fair piece of kit now. Like, it's so good. It's so things that I never actually thought of. Like, if you're using a sandbag and it's a really tough workout and it's just soaking up sweat, and it's just horrible to put it back on for the next round because it's drowned with your sweat. Like, you get none of that sort of stuff with a ram, which are things that I never even considered until he gave it to me. Yeah. And I started thinking, geez, this is so much better.
Yeah, no, we've been using our rams. We haven't got enough kit for everyone to have a sandbag, so we've been using our rams as the for the lunges in training, and absolutely take that on board. And you're right, that's a true thing with those rams. So right, okay. So you said it earlier, Dena. Just remind me, how many athletes is it? Team Hogan.
I think it's just hitting 60 now, isn't it?
Just under 60.
Yeah. I know there's 58 in the WhatsApp group.
There's always one or two who just, like me, don't want to be in these groups.
There's a couple that haven't joined yet. They're like, we're going to join at the end of next week. Yeah.
There was one guy who joined it, and then he sent us a message privately. He was like, I'm dipping out of that group until 2 days before Worlds, and I'll go back in again.
Yeah, I love it. I have to say, I love my little community, my Team Hogan community. They're just such good crack. We're all up for it. So yeah, there's close to 60 of us going. A Team Hogan takeover, as we're calling it. So it's going to be really, really good. It's going to be special because
Yeah, for us that's like, and you see this firsthand yourself. For us, that's the most rewarding part, and you've kind of built the exact same thing with your crew. Like we have people who never met face to face, that to see each other on a screen with a little tiny face icon this size, and they're chatting away, and then they meet at races and they'll do anything for each other, like they support each other. And if someone needs a bit of tape, people are running back to their hotel room, which could be 2 miles away, to get them that piece of tape. And for like all intents and purposes, these are strangers. They've only ever
Yeah.
chatted in WhatsApp groups and stuff, but the support that they show each other, for us, we just find it like mind blowing every time we go somewhere. Like it's definitely the most rewarding thing we've had from Hyrox.
Now they're starting to like team up with each other
Yeah.
for races coming up without like my knowledge or anything. Oh yeah, me and Chris are doing this, and I'm like, brilliant. Yeah, great.
Like, and yous are one of the big groups I see doing the same thing. Like, I've never seen one of your crowd on their own. It's always there's always a gang is like there's always, if there's one purple t-shirt, there's going to be 10 purple t-shirts within like two foot of them.
Yeah,
somewhere
no,
else.
absolutely. And you know, I echo what you're saying. And you know, we're all coaches, and you know, obviously what we wouldn't be coaches if we were necessarily in it for money. You know, we have to love what we're doing. But when you have
Absolutely.
that moment of that many athletes go into a world championships,
Yeah,
it must
it
give you a
is
sense of
fantastic.
pride and really proud about it, sort of thing.
Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely. And we've noticed like more and more, like when we first set up Team Hogan, and people used to reach out to us, and we used to be like, oh, I seen your result, and I've been following you, I've seen you on the podium a couple of times. Now it's, oh, I was talking to
Yeah, it's all
such
word
and
of mouth.
such, and they're like, love your program and they love your community. I've been this, it's all about the people rather than us, which is obviously the direction we wanted to go in, and just amazing. It really is. Like, and they do stuff for each other. Like, I don't do nutrition because I'm not a qualified nutritionist. I'm really big into like everyone staying in their own lane. Like, and so they got like a little secondary group of just whoever wanted to join, and they're sharing recipes, and they're, you know, showing off what they had for dinner. You know, it's just little stuff like that that you just think, wow, like, yeah, made it. It's brilliant.
Yeah, do you ever get that feeling of like I think you've touched on it there, Tom? But it's like it's a bit surreal that something that you've kind of started doing with intention to help people has ended up creating this massive community of people that are now like you said, complete strangers. Do you ever feel like it's just surreal and it's not really you that was at the kind of you guys that were at the forefront of that?
Yeah, it definitely does. And there's definitely people like, there's people within our Team Hogan community who probably drive it as much, if not more, than we do, which is even more surreal. That there's one or two people in particular who like never stop helping people out. Like just constantly, if someone needs something or needs advice on something, they're there to help those people out, and they're never looking for anything back. Like no, never.
No
It's
recognition or nothing. It's just about it. And we have our so the world is secondary to what Team Hogan's got going on anyway, because in August we have our Team Hogan summer blowout, and we've got our party, and so it's just a really good social event during the day. We've got some team like sports day things going on. We've got a pub quiz, we've got beers and burgers, and again, it's just to really thank them as the clients, as the community of helping us achieve what we have, really, isn't it? We just wanted something that didn't involve like that high pressured race environment, somewhere we could all try and get to, and the response has been amazing. So I'm really looking forward to that now in August.
Yeah, I mean that sounds exactly like what I believe in and what I think the fitness industry should be about. You know, I know people might be only coming for a session at a gym like mine for an hour or what. I get that, but that's barely any part of what it ends up being for those people, because they become
Yeah.
part of this bigger community. And then,
Yeah.
you host an event like you're saying there, and that is what it's about. People like to be part of that team ethos and that
Yeah,
group
exactly.
cohesion,
Yeah.
that sort of thing. And, it
'Cause
sounds
I
like you
do,
created something awesome.
yeah, it's really good. I do get asked the odd time, oh my God, do you ever like worry about how every single person's a Hyrox coach now? Or, do you worry about you have to fight for, and I'm like, absolutely not.
Yeah.
You
And
know, because if people want a coach where they just get their program on a Sunday and they don't speak to them again till the following Sunday, we're probably not the right coaches for them anyway.
no, and like I was just going to say, like, it isn't for everybody. Like we've 100% have people who signed up and then like left very quickly because they just decided, well, this isn't for me. Like, because there's always a bit of banter and stuff going on and a bit of messing, and I think like some people want things to be super super serious and super strict, and
Yeah.
I don't know, like give them a bollocks and if they don't do exactly what I said on an exact day. Whereas we're a lot more relaxed and, and chilled about
No, the
it than that.
sessions are horrific. Like, I think that's what we balance it out with. We have to be super duper nice to them then, because when they get their programs and they see the week ahead, they're like,
What did I do wrong?
why? What happened? What did I do? So yeah, there's a time and a place for everything, and I feel, blowing our own trumpet, but I feel like we've got the balance correct. I mean, the clients are speaking for themselves now. Like, I don't think there's many races where you go where you don't see them PBing, whether that be on a podium or qualifying or not. Like, even if someone does a race in 2 hours and they get a PB, well, that's a win. Like, it's a win for us, it's a win for them. So yeah, we're happy.
And and that spread, with Christian and Mo and everyone, that spread is really important to the whole Hyrox community, right? We don't
Yeah.
want it just to be all about the top end. We don't want it to be all about the sort of average time. This is for everyone, and it sounds like you've got those guys in your team Hogan as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
One more
it
question on
can't
Team
become like,
Hogan.
CrossFit. Sorry, just on that, like CrossFit became too elitist, and it kind of killed the sport a little bit because they made it too difficult for everybody else to do. So Hyrox do need to keep this for everybody, as you said. Like a guy who trains with us in our gym isn't a commercial gym. It's just for me and Dena and the kids. But we've one guy who comes and does a bit of training. He only lives what 10-15
It's a
kilometers
friend
away.
of ours and a neighbour for years.
Like this guy will come for 2 weeks and then you won't see him for 8 months, and then he comes back for 2 weeks again, and then he's gone again. But like he saw us doing it and actually did commit himself a little bit before Manchester last season, and did a doubles with Dena there, and loved it. Like, absolutely loved doing it. So much so that he immediately after that race signed up to do Dublin solo.
Yeah.
And
Right.
And we did.
he
Yeah.
got injured, like his knee. He always has bad knees. He's a farrier by trade. His knees are not good, and they give him a lot of trouble. And he was very injured going into Dublin, but he walked every 1 kilometer. He just strolled around. He attacked the stations as much as he could.
Big strong chap.
Big strong guy, and again came away like
Delighted.
loving it. So like, I think there has to be a place in all sports probably, but especially in Hyrox for that type of person who just wants to complete the thing and is happy to complete the thing, and it's an achievement to complete it.
Yeah. Yeah, no, and that's we've got those athletes as well, and I think that's really important, and I value that massively. So it's good to hear other people talk about that and talk like that as well. Last question on Team Hogan. Coaches. Do you have a lot of coaches being coached by you? I know I spoke to Leah a couple of weeks ago. She's a coach and she's coached by you. Is there a lot of coaches?
There's probably 6 out of every 10.
There's a lot. There's a lot of
The
coaches.
percentage is high. Now, they might not be necessarily Hyrox coaches or the mainstream Hyrox coaches you see. They could be just like a PT. A couple of them actually have daytime jobs and then PT in the evening and stuff like that. And then there's probably around 10 or 15 highly recognized names. A few of them stay on the QT, which is fair enough. And then there's probably 5 or 6 that everyone kind of know about, like, you know, Zara, Kieran, Becky was at some stage before her knees, and yeah, a few like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but then everybody needs, like, that's that thing of coaches need coaches, like, is true. Like, we always had running coaches when we were running. We've never had Hyrox coaches, probably because we just program for each other. And it's important because, like, and Dena kind of always harps on about this, that, like, I would never do a burpee if she didn't make me do a burpee. If I was programming for myself, I would never, ever, ever, ever program a burpee. I just hate them. And it's probably this vice versa with Dena with the ski erg. Like, she just doesn't like skiing. So unless I tell her to ski, she isn't going to ski. So it is important that you have a coach, especially for your headspace. I think it's hard to kind of self coach yourself, especially if you're at the higher end of the sport, because you'll always kind of you'll question yourself and think, am I doing enough, or am I doing too much, or should I do this, or what are other people doing?
Yeah, and it becomes a lot of the same thing. Like, if you spend all day, every day programming other people, giving them 100% of yourself, of your programming says, like, then, I mean, we do it a little bit, don't we? We leave ourselves till last every
Yeah,
week on
yeah.
it, and then it's kind of like, oh, well, let's just program Monday, Tuesday, and then we'll see how the rest of the week goes. So I completely get it, to be honest. They're probably the hardest people to coach,
Yeah.
because they obviously want to understand it and they want to make sure it's right, and you know, whereas a
Yeah.
lot
No,
of others won't.
Leah backed up what you guys said there as well. It's important for coaches to have coaches, and I think it's important, you know, and
Yeah.
I think it's important for our clients and our team members to understand that we're being coached as well. And although it's you two doing each other's coaching, that still will count a lot to them as well, to know that, you know, Dena, you're not just rocking up into your gym and doing what you fancy.
No,
You know,
No.
Tom's actually
no.
making you do it. Which, yeah, I think is important. Quick word on, just if you don't mind, a quick word on Zara in the Elite 15.
Yeah.
She obviously, I've started to build a relationship with Zara in terms of she lives quite local. She came down here for a workshop with Ergami, and we met in person there, and it was nice to chat things through. You know, she's come a long way in a year and has ended up on the Elite 15 race. You know, how do you guys feel as coaches?
Sarah's our friend till after Friday, and then
she's the enemy for the
the
relay.
enemy then.
I already told her.
Sarah's amazing. She is one
I
that
actually told her to be fairly bad form if, like, she was passing out an OAP guy on one of the stations. I said, you have to respect your elders.
yeah.
Now, Sarah's one of these people who, it wouldn't matter what you programmed, she would do it, like, without question. If you give her 20 by 1K, she'd go out and do it. Like, she wouldn't even say, why am I doing that? She would just do it. It's really insane, the stuff she's able to do.
She doesn't want to change things. She doesn't want to just do the stuff she's good at. She she's basically a dream client, really, because as Tom said, she just gets her program and she does it. She just
Yeah,
does it. I don't know. I'm not necessarily saying that someone else doesn't trust what we're saying, but it takes a lot to just switch off and just say, okay, I'm all in. Like, you know.
She's very honest with herself. She knows exactly what she needs to work on all the time, and she's never happy, which is a great trait to have if you want to make it to the top of anything, whether it's sport or business or whatever you're trying to get to the top of. Like, if you're never willing to rest on your laurels, you'll go far, and that's kind of the way she is. Like, she'll get better at something, but she just wants to get even better at it again. Then, and she, like I said, doesn't lie to herself. You'll get a lot of people who say, "Oh, I'm fantastic at this," or "I'm fantastic at that," and probably they really aren't. Like,
yeah,
that's the truth. Like, I don't think you'll get any of the elite people saying, I'm fantastic at this. They'll probably all say, oh, I'm okay at that.
Might get one or
They
two.
want to get better at it no matter what it is. Like, and that's just their mindset. It's always, I want to get better. I want to get better. I want to get better.
yeah,
So yeah,
yeah. No, she's the
really good.
nicest person as well, right? So, you know, that goes a long way, I think. But you
Yeah,
know,
yeah. And like, I love the fact that her dad goes to every single race she does, supports her in everything. Like, that's, you don't see that kind of too often. That, especially when we get to adulthood. Like when they're kids, all right, you're going to watch everything they do. But
Yes.
I just think that's amazing. And he was a top end coach himself for rugby, I believe.
Yeah, no, I think it was rugby. He had a brief chat. He came as well to the
Yeah,
workshop.
there you
So
go.
yeah, he was nice guy. So yeah, so you guys are off to Nice. I'm off to Nice. It's going to be an epic weekend on all fronts. One last
Yeah, well,
question for you: when you're coaches and you have your race as well, how do you get that balance of doing what you need to do for the clients, but also being there in the moment for your race as well?
Well, that's see, that's
partly
something.
why.
Yeah, that's something that's changed for us a lot in the last 12 months, and it was kind of a big reason why. Well, this and injuries, why we decided like the elite stuff was kind of done for us. Because we wanted to focus more on that side of it, and we didn't want a situation where we were constantly just thinking, oh, and especially if I'm racing pro or Dena's racing pro, you're not going to race till late in the evening, and
Okay, so
like
sitting in the
you'd be
hotel
sitting in the
room,
hotel all day.
missing what's going on, not really being a help to anyone, or so yeah, it definitely was a big, huge factor in our decisions. So many people racing now. I think the London just gone, we had 40 something,
Yeah.
like just to be watching them and cheering them on with no worries. Like I was there for all 3 days without racing, just seeing everybody and just helping where I could. And yeah, it was great. The time has come for it, really.
Yeah, so we don't mind watching. Like we will be in the hall probably all day, Saturday and Sunday, like watching races for the probably 12 o'clock to 1 o'clock. We will leave and go and rest for our own race, but we will watch as many people,
Many
as
as we
many
can.
clients as we
Yeah.
possibly can. And it's like people get uptight a lot about races and worry about training. And like I had a really, really good race in London in the pro doubles, and I had stood around for 3 days by that stage watching people, and I was constantly in the hall and out of the hall and chatting to people, and that drains you a little bit. But I think if you're not like too worried about something, you're pretty relaxed going into something, it usually goes better for you than when you're
Yeah.
uptight and you're constantly worrying about it. Like I didn't think for 1 second before that doubles race, oh, I've been on my feet for 3 days. I just went, let's just go see what happens. Whatever happens, happens.
Yeah, no, everything I've recorded since Olympia, I've asked that question if people are coaches and have clients, because I completely failed. I had a shocking race on the Sunday night, but I'd been in there
Okay.
since 8 a.m. Saturday morning
Yeah.
Yeah,
for
it can
nearly
be like
2 whole
that too.
days. And it was really sort of fatiguing emotionally and everything else. And, you know how it is, you're invested in those people that you're
Yeah.
coaching. So
It's mentally draining.
you feel that as
Absolutely.
well.
Yeah.
So, I've
It's
got two
hard
more.
being up for people all the time. It is mentally draining to be kind of up all the time, like cheering other people on and being happy and smiley, and like there definitely is stages where you just want to like walk into the corner and go, God, I don't want to smile anymore.
Sleep for
I
10
don't want to
minutes.
talk to people anymore. Like it's just, but yeah, I get it. I get like if you were trying to peak for that, then that would constantly be on your mind. Like it would be on your mind that I've been standing up and I've been moving around. That's what I'm kind of saying. If you're not really trying to peak and you're more relaxed, and that's kind of why it worked for me. I didn't really care that I was up and moving around, and I found when I went to race that body actually feels quite good here.
Yeah, I just stood still in the burpees about halfway down the first length and just thought
No,
I'm
no.
knackered,
One of them
which is
ones.
not the place to stand and do it. But there you
We've
go.
all been there.
So two more questions,
Mm-hmm.
very different questions. The first one is, like Dave Castro's ranch in CrossFit is like
Yeah.
this ground, this holy ground that we need to go to if we're a CrossFitter.
Yeah.
From a fan's perspective, I think your gym at your house could start to get that kind of thing. Do you get people asking to come? Do you ever get anyone
Do you
want to
know
come
what?
and visit?
We've had a couple of clients come stay with us, haven't we?
Yeah.
Yeah, we've had a couple of people come for like a weekend in Ireland and do a bit of sightseeing and come in, and they come into the gym and they're like, oh, I feel like I've been here before, and they're looking at things, and obviously it's got all our old Irish signets from when we were racing and stuff. So there's a lot of memorabilia. So maybe it's a little bit kind of, um, you know, it's not like a fancy gym that you could go to anywhere, but anyone that wants to come, they're more than welcome. We're always
Oh
up
yeah,
for crack.
we want to come. We want to come.
Yeah,
We love
no
it. We
bother.
love seeing it on Instagram. We're like, yeah, let's come. Let's go. Let's
I
go
think
see
a
it.
couple of months ago we had a couple of people coming over, and every day Tom came home and he used to say, "Oh, such and such is coming too, such and such is coming," and I'm like, "Okay, but it's now time to start like shipping some kids out to grannies and freeing up some beds."
It was pretty crazy. So we had Darren from Forder's gym was coming
Yeah.
over, and he said, "Oh yes, I'll probably bring Max with me because Max goes everywhere with him. They film and record and stuff." And then there had
There
been
was a load of people
there was three
coming,
other
and yeah.
people coming, and we were moving kids around and telling kids you got to go sleep in your grannies. All of this was happening. Then a couple from Ireland contacted us. They're like, "Can we come down? We've a camper van. We can just park it in your garden." And we're like, "Okay, come on down. We'll plug you in. We'll plug you into the house."
And then on the way down,
Darren arrives in Ireland, and then he's like, "Yeah, we're on our way down." And he's like, "Okay, who Max is with you?" And he's like, "Yeah, there's 5 of us." So
it was
we
fine.
Just
proper
turned up.
full house. Yeah,
Brilliant.
so everyone is welcome. Well,
Yeah.
come on over. There's a big garden. We can put up tents. We can get the whole crew over from Marsh's gym.
Oh, excuse me.
That would be good. That would be good. We should do that. We should do that. They'll listen to this. They'll take that now. They'll take what you've said and they'll grab
Tell
it.
them to come.
Like,
We have like we have some like amazing like woods and stuff like 10 kilometers from us that have great running and stuff out there. So that's loads of trails. You can do single track mountain bike stuff if you wanted. It's
good Guinness.
Nice.
Good Guinness.
Cool.
We have it.
Yeah, proper Guinness. Proper Guinness.
We have it all. We have it all.
And then last question then. So wrapping this up, going back to the top of the show, you talked about wanting to spread this word in Ireland. You want to get people into Hyrox. You want to have people joining in with our sport. So what would those, for someone who has been into sport but not Hyrox or not even any hybrid sport as of yet, what would you say to anyone who was on the fence about whether they should take that next step?
We tell them just to go to an event. Like I've actually told probably 100 people since Dublin sold out to just go and witness it. Just go and see, and I guarantee them that if you go and watch it once, you'll want to do one. Like it's just infectious.
Yeah, and to remember, like you can start in a relay, you can start in a doubles. Like you don't have to jump straight into a solo race. That's another beauty of it. There's so many different divisions and ways you can do it. So the amount of people we have on our books that have now like roped a husband in or a partner in or whatever, and like that they probably went and watched, and it's like, yeah, give me a piece of this action. So
it's grown massively. Like if you had asked me 12 months ago, I'd have told you that 95% of our clients were in the UK, and now it's probably 60-40. Like that's how much it is picked up here in Ireland now. Like every week someone is tagging us saying we're doing a Hyrox sim or a new Hyrox gym is opening up. It's really picking up.
So do you guys think you need more than one Hyrox a year in Ireland?
There's nowhere else to host one is the problem. So they would have to go back to the same venue. But I think the 3-day thing will be good. I think a lot of people will get to do it and get to witness it. And like, I'll be 100% honest, I didn't think the one in Ireland was good last year.
As good. It was good. It wasn't as
good. Anyone who went for the first time thought it was fantastic. Anyone who'd been to a UK event or a European event probably came away thinking that was a little bit poor. Like it wasn't the organisation and the layout wasn't what it is in other places.
Yeah, I thought you could read that on social media. Actually, you could feel that vibe actually just from reading some comments and stuff. It was quite clear that there was perhaps not something quite right. Various rumours were that they didn't have the main hall, wasn't available in the convention centre or wherever.
It was the Dublin Marathon weekend. You see, it was just
they had the hall.
They had the hall.
Yeah.
Well, there's only one other big sporting event in the whole year in Dublin, and they put it on the same day.
Yeah.
No, I do remember seeing that. Yeah, I don't think Hyrox quite realised they made that error at first. That was certainly all over Facebook and Instagram. So, as kind of, some of the first people, some of the pioneers of the elite sport and of Hyrox, where do you hope the sport ends up? How do you hope it goes?
Well, Mo's dream is to have it in the Olympics, and I'd like to see him getting it, because, like, I know the lads put so much work into it, and they never stop. Like, most races we go to, we'll end up having chats with them, and they're never happy. It's always like, we want to improve this, we want to improve that, and mainly for the people who are doing the sport is why they're trying to improve it all the time. So I'd like to see them get what they want out of it, and that is to get it to the Olympic level.
I'd like to see the kids thing grow more as well,
Yeah.
because obviously that's the sport will always lie with the people that are coming up next. So that if the kids thing could really get nailed down properly and be in more locations, I think that would be a game changer, wouldn't it? Like, we've talked about it before, how it could be a case where children grow up and Hyrox is their sport. You know, they're not runners or soccer players that happen to do a Hyrox because their mum and dad do it. They're doing it because they've trained and that's what they do.
Yeah, and the times will tumble down then.
So,
They'll be looking back on times in 10 years' time to be going, what were those guys in 2023, 2024 doing at all? Were they crawling around, or what were they doing?
That's
awesome. Just the way sport and life goes, isn't it? It's just the next generation are always going to pick it up another bit.
Yeah.
Better and better. Absolutely. No, completely agree.
So
thanks very much. I really appreciate your time, and for you guys coming on. It's been really insightful, especially the understanding the relay and stuff, because it's not really out there. So really appreciate it. If people that are listening don't know where to find you and follow you, where can they do that?
Shame on them. Shame on those people.
So you can follow me at Dena Hogan 1, and then everything I post, Tom just reposts. So you can either just save yourself some trouble, or you can go follow him as well. And
I'm Hogan.Tom. My cousin took Tom Hogan, so I got stuck with Hogan.Tom.
Tomorrow's probably. I never thought. I wondered, does he get all these like Hyrox people following him?
All these Hyrox people look, yeah.
Yeah.
I bet.
He probably does. He probably does.
2 Tom Hogans.
So how many from your own crew will be in Nice?
So we will shout out for Team Hogan when we see you, and I assume they'll be wearing your vests. They'll be out in those, will they?
Even if they die with the heat, they have to leave it on.
Oh, we got some fancy pantsy tattoos now.
Oh yeah, we got tattoos. So if someone wants to take their top off,
we've really upped our game here for our race attire. Yeah.
I love the fact that where we're from in Wexford, the county colours are actually the colours of your podcast and your gym.
Yeah.
Oh,
purple and yellow.
We're like purple and gold, purple and yellow.
I don't know if you've seen the picture of us in the Ram when we did the Ram announcement. If you see the top that Tom and I are wearing, that's a Wexford jersey, so that's our county jersey. So very same colour as you have on there.
Identical.
Yeah, no, it did stick out to me for that reason, actually. So yeah, it did. No, cool. We've got 4 competing. So Carol, who's been there and done it before, and she's up against she's particularly racing against Linda Meyer's mum is racing against Carol. Yeah, and they raced against each other last year, and they were neck and neck, and Carol lost the podium because she missed 1 lap. So Carol missed the podium, and Annette got it. So Carol's got something to put to bed at the World. She wants to get a podium if she can.
I bet.
And then there's 3 others. So we've got 1 ladies double pair and 1 other single. So there's 4 competing. Amazing. And there'll be 6 purple people walking around all weekend. So
brilliant.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
You have to come and say hello when we see you. I'm sure we'll see you.
Absolutely.
So.
Definitely.
Awesome.
Always your crew always come up and say hello every time I see him anywhere.
Yeah, no, they really appreciated the time you guys gave last summer when you came over, and it was really insightful, and it was great having you there as well, because you were. I always say to the guys that when you came to the gym and Hunter was doing his thing and teaching everyone, that you would step back with me and sort of talk to me more as a coach and how to coach things, and some of the sled stuff you taught me. It was it was really helpful. So they really appreciated you being there and the time you gave. So I think they'll always forever come and say hello. So yeah. and you're always welcome. You guys are always welcome here as well. If it's ever convenient for Team Hogan to come and do some sort of throwdown, we can do that as well. So
yeah, definitely.
Awesome.
Okay.
Awesome. Well, I will say thanks to you guys again, and I'll say
Thank
thanks
you.
to anyone who's watched this or listened to it, and hopefully we'll get to speak to you guys in Nice, and for anyone listening, hopefully we can meet here again to speak more on the rocks.